there's been a report that they've been abused, what will happen is instead of a cop talking to them or instead of a doctor talking to them, we actually will talk to them about what happened. What happened before Blue Sky Bridge was around was if somebody was abused, they'd be asked a lot of times about what happened to them. You know, you don't like being asked the same question over and over, do you? No, not at all. So we make it happen so you only get asked questions once. It gets recorded to DVD so that then the investigators can use that too. So they use that as evidence if a report of child abuse has been made. And then what we do is help the children get help. So sometimes they need to get therapy, sometimes they might need to see a doctor, and we make sure that happens so that they can start to move past the abuse and start to be healed. So that's one service we do for children. The other one is actually specifically for third graders. So we go into schools at the third grade level and we're with them for 4 weeks and we teach them about how to keep themselves safe. I actually brought some props to show you. So we start out with touching rules so that they know that their body belongs to them. No one is allowed to make them touch their bodies, and nobody is allowed to touch their bodies, the children. So we start out with this. We've got puppets and toys to use to help them use those rules. And then every classroom gets a set of books as well. This book is My Body Belongs to Me. I said no, and it helps the third graders practice saying no if somebody breaks one of their touching rules. The swimsuit lesson, which is the same sort of thing, so that they learn to say no. This one's on a dark, dark night, and it's about what happens if kids are being abused at home. And then the right touch. So after 4 weeks, we hope that the third graders know that they own their bodies, that they can say no if somebody makes them feel icky, and what to do. We call it a no-go-tell plan. So they say no, they go away, and they tell a trusted adult. And we are in about 12 schools a year right now, teaching third graders about those rules and the plan to get out. So, in a nutshell, that's what we do. You guys want to start asking questions, or? Yeah.
When you talk to the third graders, well, what types of schools do you go to? Like public or private?
Right now we're doing public schools because we do it for free. I should have said that. Everything we do for free. We don't want the police to have to pay because then they have to decide, oh, can we afford to bring them to Blue Sky Bridge or should we just talk to the kid? We want them to always bring the cases to us because we know we're going to be able to help the child more. And then the schools, we go in for free as well because we don't want the schools to have to pay for that. So right now we're only doing public schools because they can't afford a program otherwise.
Harvesters, don't forget to ask about questions that'll help you decide what needs are.
Yeah.
If we donated some money to you, what would you do with it?
That's a really good question. So there are a lot of different things we can do with it. We can either help with the cases of child abuse or with the third grade program. So for the cases, there are a lot of different things that happen. As soon as a kid comes into Blue Sky Bridge, they get a snack. So we always want them to be happy and have happy bellies. We have somebody who actually sits with them during the whole process. We've got a toy room filled with games and stuffed animals and DVDs so that they have lots of fun playthings. So the money could go to actually help that. We always need more Play-Doh and crayons and snacks. Or it could go to the third grade program. So you saw the books that we do. We want to make sure we can give a copy of those books to every classroom we're in. We also, at the end, every student gets a wristband that says no go tell, so that after we leave, they still remember the plan we talked to them about. So it costs us about $650 to go into every classroom. So even a portion of that $650 can make a big difference to us. And for the cases, it takes about $500 for every child that comes in for us to go through the whole process from getting them their snacks, talking to them about what happened, and then getting them the therapy or help they may need afterwards.
about your service opportunities?
Like volunteer? Oh, that's a great question. So there are a few different ways, actually, that kids can help. Our facility is actually a beautiful little house, because again, we don't want it to feel like people are going to the police station or to a doctor's office. So it's a nice little house. We've got a white picket fence and a little play area, and we always need help. You know, every spring we have people come out to help us plant flowers. In the fall, there are leaves that need to be raked, so we always have a lot of fun little things around the house. And then we also just need help putting things together. With so many kids coming through, we have about 250 kids that come through our office every year, and then 650 that we help in the 3rd grade program. So we need help counting wristbands and putting bookmarks together and getting all of our books tied up with pretty ribbons. So there are a lot of fun things that kids can do to help us out. Yeah. That's a really good question. Because what we're trying to do with the 3rd grade program is hopefully prevent abuse before it ever happens. And with the other kids, it's after it's happened. So we're just helping them to heal. So both sides need help. We would love it if we did such a good job of preventing abuse that we didn't have to do the other part
Am I in the picture?
But we also know that that's really important. So it really would be up to your discretion. You guys know what that word means? So you can decide where you want your money and where you think it's going to be most helpful, because they're both really important things. It's a great question.
You guys are so quiet this morning.
It's cold and snowy still. Yes. We all wish we had a snow day yesterday.
That was so true.
Yeah.
Where we get home.
Right now, we're just in Boulder. Now, we serve a large area, but our actual facility is in Boulder. Yeah.
What is the area you serve in, like Colorado or?
So about 80% of our cases are Boulder County. So not just the city of Boulder, but that whole county. And then the other 20% come from all over the state. Yeah.
How many employees do you have?
Oh, great question. We have 9 employees. 4 are full-time, so they work 40 hours a week, and the rest are part-time. And then we have over 50 volunteers at any given time. Yeah.
What types of things would you ask the abused kid?
That's a good question. So we ask them a lot of things. We'll ask them about what happened, like if there was a specific incident when they were abused. We'll try to get all the details around that. We might ask them about how they're feeling now, because that helps us get them whatever service they might need. And then we'll actually talk to the parents a lot about what they need. Because for parents to be able to help their kids, we know they need to be helped too sometimes. Because it's hard for a family to deal with abuse. It really can affect everybody, even the other kids who weren't abused. So we want to make sure that we have a good understanding of where the family's at, so that we know what services they might need going forward. Yeah.
What kind of services do you have?
So the primary one is that part of the investigation. We know that for kids to start to heal, they have to tell their story. They have to tell what happened. And that also helps the police to get the bad guys off the streets, is knowing exactly what happened. So that's the primary one. Then what we do is we have a list of therapists, people who can talk to kids, who might use play therapy, like using sand and Play-Doh to help kids work it through. And what we do is every year we go through our list and we call them and see what services they offer, so that we have a list of everything. Some families only speak Spanish, so we have to find therapists for them that speak Spanish. Some kids, we might want them to do talk therapy, where they're just telling about their feelings, and others might need to do play therapy. So we look at all of that, as well as what kind of insurance they accept, so that we can make really specific referrals for those families. Because it's hard. There are tons and tons of therapists, and if we just tell a parent, all right, go get your child therapy, it's really hard for them to find one that's going to fit. So we do that work for them, and then we can give them a specific list of these are 2 people you should call. So it's a lot easier. And then we actually follow up with them a week later and then 2 weeks after that to make sure that they're getting the help they need. Ooh, lots of hands, yeah.
How many calls a day do you usually get?
How many what a day?
Calls a day.
Calls. Oh, so that's another thing we do actually is the calls. So anybody, kids, parents, teachers can call in and say, I think this might be happening to a child, what should I do? For those, we get about 1 a day, and we'll help walk them through the process. It's usually about a 30-minute call where we'll talk to them. And then cases, we average about 1 to 2 a day of cases where the family and the child actually comes into our center. So about 250 a year. I see a hand over here that I missed.
Charlie's was. I'm loving all these great notes you guys are taking.
Mm-hmm. And these are really great questions. Really great.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, would you like to share anything about Penny Harvest?
Yeah, I would love
So
to know
that
more
she knows
about
a little
that.
bit more
I haven't
about
heard from you yet.
So penny harvest is basically, so the school brings in as many pennies as they can,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever has whatever class has the most pennies wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put it all together, and then we kind of just we bring in people like you from organizations, and we take notes, and then we decide.
That's great. I love that. It's great that kids like you want to help out other kids. You know, it's really fantastic. Instead of it just the adults deciding what kids need, for you to, you know better than we do. So thank you. Yeah.
And also, we decide on which organization, but it has to be based off of what other people in our school think.
Mm-hmm. So after you do the interviews, do you like vote kind of thing, or?
Well, after we do the interviews, we've already asked the classes what they want, and then we do the interviews and penny harvest.
Oh, okay. That's great. Did you have a question?
Well, what we do is we give each class an eagle of caring, and they fill it out to like a group like charities that they think would benefit from our money
Okay.
we collect, and then we kind of put it all together and decide like what are the main groups that need it, and then we kind of just bring it to school and talk to them and then decide.
Absolutely. That's great.
Do you want to share anything, my super veteran?
No, I think we're covered.
Awesome.